Hi there, everyone. This is Dr. Gwen from the Dr. Gwen International Training and Empowerment Academy and host of the iTunes show, The Dr. Gwen Show. I am once again very happy to join you here this afternoon on a Friday to talk about where are you living your life from? Now, this conversation actually was generated. Hey there, Jackie. This conversation was generated from a thought that I had after talking with someone this week about our past experiences, and how we sometimes allow those experiences to creep into what we're living now or what we're projecting for the future. And I thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I also appreciate all the time the love bubbles as well. So the question that I want to ask you is, where are you living your life from? Now, what a question that is. Because at times, a lot of us are not aware that we are living our lives from someplace else. In other words, we're not really cognizant to what is going on right now. For example, let me give you an example. What are you doing right now? You're probably watching this live cast, and maybe you're also multitasking and doing something else. That is not being completely present to the activity that you are engaged in. And there are times when you may find yourself bringing a situation or an incident that happened in the past, dragging it like a heavy weight into your current experience that you're living and into your future experiences. And I know there are a lot of us, as I said, who are not really aware of doing this. Maybe you had a horrible experience in the past that really shook you. And a lot of times when we talk to people and we help them, and I help them to try to discover where those blocks are originating from, sometimes some people have a tendency to say that those blocks occurred in their childhood somewhere, while that may not necessarily be the case. What I have found is that if you have had a really traumatic experience in your early adult life or even in your adult life, that can also deeply embed certain ways of thinking in your subconscious mind. And then we tend to look at those struggles as pain, as we should. They're painful, and we look at them as hurdles that we bear and carry from one experience to the other to the other. And that doesn't necessarily have to be that way. See, those struggles that you go through, a lot of times those are set up for your greatness. And I'm not saying it's organized that way, that you should feel the pain to be great. But then again, I'm kind of saying that's how it amounts to. Because after going through that struggle, you come out of that experience to be such a powerful human being to the extent that you are able to impact someone else's life for the good. And you've heard me say this before, that I actually have had some tragedy, not tragedy like death, but really excruciating circumstances decades ago, probably about 30, 31, 32 years ago. And that experience, I discovered, is so deeply embedded in my life that I was not even aware of its presence. And suddenly that affected the way I related to other people when I anticipated that the results were going to be the same. So you have to be really mindful of how you deal with that struggle that you're going through. And you have to be mindful that you're not taking it from your past and putting it right now in your circumstance that's present, even though it may not be happening, and worst yet, projecting it out there in your future. We have a great way of doing that. If something bad happens to us, maybe you were in school and you raised your hand to answer a question, the answer was wrong, all the kids laugh because not because it was wrong, but because it was funny. And you may make a story about that you're dumb or you're stupid. So projecting into the future, what do you attempt to do? You will not raise your hand again in public because you remember that experience that you had. Yet that experience that you had happened decades ago, years ago, and that may not be your experience currently. But what do you allow yourself to do? You allow yourself to be stopped and to allow fear to overcome you so you don't progress to the next level of your life where you need to be. That's where you have to be careful that your past experiences stay there. Now, I know that it's not as easy as I am saying. It's not. And what will it require for you to be aware of what is going on? Presentness, awareness. You have to, every time you are about to make a choice or a decision, examine it. Just pause for a minute and ask yourself, where is that source coming from? Where is the source of that decision? Is it wrapped up in fear because something happened in the past that you are trying to avoid now? Thanks for that like. I appreciate it. You know, where is it coming from? Hey there, Elsie. Great to see you. So that source of fear is quite likely coming from somewhere in the past. And if you let that run your show, you will not move to the next level of progress in your life. Struggles are not necessarily bad. They are horrible in the process of the whole feeling and emotion of it. It doesn't feel great to be there. It's not a happy place to be. However, I have learned that the way I look at the struggle can really either intensify the pain or reduce the pain. And if I choose to look at it as, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this experience? And I am going through that experience with that in my mind, it makes a huge difference. Now, I don't want to make this a trend of my conversation when I talk about my past. I'm not going back there again. But I do remember making a journal of activities or experiences that I was going through. Why did I do that? It wasn't so much to recollect the pain, but so that I would be able to write a book that would benefit somebody else's life. That is how I look at my struggles and my challenges and the pain that comes to me. So you don't want to drag those past experiences from your past and put them into your future. That will stifle your growth. It really did. So how do you know if you're really living from your past? How do you know that? Well, think about something right now. Maybe something you are afraid of doing, something that scares you. Think about that. And ask yourself, what is the source of that fear? Why am I afraid? Why don't I want to step out and do this? Maybe it's a relationship and you are working to create one, perhaps, and you are fearful of stepping out because you may remember in the past being rejected. That rejection happened back then. It's not guaranteed that it's going to happen again in the future. It really is not. And yet we live our lives from that perspective as though every single one of those experiences that happened is law, which means that it's got to happen again. That is living your life from a place of what I call disenfranchisement. It disempowers you, if there is such a word, and it does not allow you to step out and to grow. So you have to really examine that. Now, are you feeling raw about it? Are you feeling hurt about it? When you go back and you look at whatever that experience was that may be stopping you right now, how do you know whether it's affecting your life? Well, does it bring you pain? Do you feel pain or a sensation somewhere inside of your body when you remember that event? If you do, there's still residues of it left over, and you have got to get rid of it. Now, I know the next question for me is, how do you get rid of it? That is a long process, but I can also say it's an easy process, and it's something as simple as you beginning to be aware. You have to pause in the moment before you choose your next action. You have to differentiate yourself from that fear and those thoughts that are occurring in your mind. And then you have to create something that's different from what your experiences are. Thanks for that love bubble. So I call this my PDC technique: pause, differentiate, and create. If you don't set up a pause, you're going to act on automatic, just like you have every time before. And then there are also other strategies that I use with my clients to help them to overcome a hurdle that they may be going off. Hey Valerie, how are you? Good to see you. It's been a while. So that PDC technique will help you at least to become aware. Then there is the breathing. Where do you feel that sensation? Just breathe through it. Deep diaphragm breathing and release. Breathe into the pain where you feel that sensation and breathe out through your mouth just to release it. See, all of these things that's trapped in your body, it's really energy. It's energy. And that begins the process to get the flow. Love on yourself. Understand that those struggles, though they're difficult, they really build up to your greatness. Look at the butterfly. Have you ever seen one? I went to YouTube and I just YouTubed it to see just how that little caterpillar came out of that cocoon and becomes a butterfly. It's a struggle. It's intense. I mean, when you see them going through it, you almost feel like you want to cut that thing and let them out. But you know, there's a deep lesson in that for us as human beings, and even as we relate to other people through their own struggles. If you cut that cocoon and let that butterfly out, the wings don't develop and they'll die. They will die. They have to go through that struggle. Now, does it mean that your struggle is somebody else's struggle, and if someone is going through a struggle, you shouldn't help out? I don't think so. I don't think so. But in the process of helping, you should also be enabling and uplifting, not enabling, but uplifting and causing them to develop their own self-sufficiency. That's really where the power lies. So struggles are not necessarily bad things. And all we need to do is to shift our perspective on how we're looking at it and not allow those struggles to run our present life and to run our future life, because that's where the buck stops. That's where you have to let it go, because if you keep doing that now, you will be impeding your growth. So paying attention to your internal workings and asking yourself those questions is really key. Now, there was an activity someone introduced me to, and I'm going to share it with you because after I did it, I found it completely valuable. It really was a huge eye-opener for me as I completed it. And here's what I want you to do. You can try it later on. If you have a long piece of paper, it's good. You can do it, or you can just do it in a timeline down. But draw out all the memories of the timeline of your life. Just draw it out from birth. Of course, you may not remember birth, but I remembered as early back as I was 4 years old. I remember that. So, and just draw it out, all of the major things that happened at each period of your life that you felt impacted. There is something to be discovered by doing that, because you can begin to see where possibly some of the blocks in your life began to happen. Okay, when it was introduced to me, that timeline, it was just for the fun of doing it, right? It wasn't presented to me as seeing the blocks in your life, but as I did it, I discovered where some of the major hurdles and struggles occurred for me in my life. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. So I invite you to do that. Just draw it out on a timeline and put a date. Or you may not remember the exact date, but the year or how old you were when that occurred. And do it all the way up to this present year and see what that does for you. I would love to hear about your experience. When I heard about that, I immediately went and did it. Rolled that paper out on the floor, sat on the floor, and drew that timeline out. Wow, it was completely revealing. I could see where the rough patches were in my life. I could see that major transitions happened every 2 years in my life. And I could also see a long block of time when things were really, really booming. All of that became like pictures right in front of me as I did that. So I invite you to do that because I think you will really, really enjoy it. So where are you living your life from? This week we're reflecting. And as I leave you here this afternoon, I really want you to think about it. Are you living your life present? Are you in the moment right now? Or when you sit down to do something, is your mind somewhere else? Thinking about something else. I am guilty. Really good at that. You know, I have a tendency, like when I'm eating, to be thinking about what I'm going to do next. And I am molding myself into sitting down and really enjoying the meal. Bit by bit, bite by bite, chew by chew, swallow by swallow. I am enjoying every minute of it. So when I'm eating, I am allowing myself to be present, just eating. And when I am working, I am allowing myself to be present, working, not jumping here and there all over Facebook and other places, jumping on emails and doing those things, because that just disperses your energy. So, where are you living your life from? Are you present? Are you bringing your past into right now? Into your relationships? Are you dragging your past into your future? Is that what you're doing? And if you're doing that, stop dissipating your energy. You are here. You are amazing. You're here for a divine purpose, and living your divine purpose requires that you understand why you're going through the struggles. You may not right away, but at least appreciate the learnings that you get from those struggles and catalog them so you can help someone else coming behind you who may be going through the same thing. Then the next thing I'm going to leave you with is make that timeline. This is just all in review. Just make a timeline of your experiences from birth, as much as you remember, all the way to present. Date it, the year, your age, and see if there's a pattern that emerges. And next, and finally, when you try to discover whether a past experience is hampering or impeding your progress right now, think for a moment about that experience and notice the emotion that comes up. Do you feel like a certain pain in your neck or in the pit of your stomach? Where do you feel that? And breathe into that. Love yourself. Tell yourself how wonderful you are, and just really love yourself. And practice the PDC technique, which is you pause, you differentiate, and you create. Pause when that past thought comes up. Differentiate yourself from it. You're not it, and it cannot impact your life, whether present or future, unless you let it. And then create what you want. Create the action that you want, which would be counter to that negative emotion that has been driving you for a while. I am always grateful for my friends being with me, and tomorrow is Saturday, believe it or not. Wow. I think this week just went by really, really quickly. And I'm thinking, I said I was going to do this little spiel for 30 days, and I might have lost count. This may be either day 25 or 30. I don't know which one. However, I'm going to say I'll see you back here on Monday, where we will chat again. I will have something interesting for you. If you have any questions at all that you feel like you need to have answered, send them my way. I'd be very, very thrilled to address them. Either, you know, we're all ladies here. Issues with relationships. And I think there's a session or a series that I'm going to do on raising a family, like raising kids. Thanks for that love bulb. I really appreciate that, because I think it's really important. And living a blended family household. Those are all topics, like I speak on the topics that I have experience with. And I like to share what my experience is. Elsie, I see that. I am so delighted that you're here, and I'm very happy you're getting some value from this. And I want to wish you beautiful ladies, you powerful ladies that are here with me on this live cast, the most amazing weekend. And love yourself. You are beautiful. You are powerful. You can do anything you set your mind to, even if it scares you. You can do it. And I want to hear some of your stories. Just reach out to me. It would be my sheer delight to chat with you offline. And have a great Saturday and Sunday. And I will see you back here on Monday at 3 p.m. Love you ladies very much. Bye.